Hey guys, welcome back to my garden. Today I'm going to take you on a little garden tour. Hopefully it's a quick one, but also I'm going to harvest a few things because there's some things in my garden that I need to get harvested today. Today happens to be a good day that I can do it, and I'm going to take you along with me. So welcome to my garden. So up first is going to be in this garden bed here, and I'll show you how these are going. This is my cabbages here, and some cabbage worms did get to that one, but it's starting to regrow to this one. But these ones are all doing quite well. They're coming along and they're starting to produce some heads. Along here is where my lettuces are. All of these get morning sun, and surprisingly I got my first volunteer plant, which happens to be a potato. So I must have left some potatoes in this bed last year when I grew potatoes in this bed. So that's what's growing in this bed. In my pathway here, I get lots of sun, so I've actually decided to put my carrots along here, and they are doing quite well. This one here and this one here are my rainbow carrots, and this one here is just my regular carrots that I did try to do some spacing with. This one I did no spacing with, and this one I tried a little bit of spacing as well. I just wanted to see how well they went, but they are all producing quite well. Over in the kitchen herb garden and onion bed, my onions are starting to bulb up, and I'm thinking that this method worked really, really well for me. The smaller ones died off on their own, so I don't feel bad about plucking them. The dill is coming along quite well. I'm not exactly certain what's going on here, but this is my dill plant and it's doing quite well. My purple basil is in here and it's still growing. I can't say it's doing that great, but look at my new kale. This is the new kale I put in, and it's doing quite well. My oregano and my cilantro are doing quite well as well. Now this is the bed that I need to do some harvesting. As you can see, my cilantro is overgrowing. My oregano is overgrowing. I can harvest some of my kale, and then maybe we can get a few of the sweet peas. Here is some oregano that's coming along. It's doing fine, and I can leave that for a bit. Over here is where one of my flowers are, and they're doing quite well. They're starting to come up with some heads. I just wanted some flowers over here. And then in this garden bed, my celery is coming along quite well. This pepper, they're doing quite well as well. And I have some new seedlings that are starting to come up because I added some seedlings later that I did not put on film because I just threw some in to get them growing. And I have some purple basil over here. I wanted some basil close to the tomatoes, but they are struggling to come along. These are the ones I started from seed. Over here where my tomatoes are, I'm going to need to do some pruning. So let's just go ahead and get some of this pruned. Now this tomato here, you don't want to take off all of the little suckers that are growing off, but you do want to trim up anything like this one. I don't know if it just got caught. So I'm going to kind of snip off this leaf. It's looking sad. I think it's just losing some of the space inside there. I don't know what's going on, but there we go. We got some more tomatoes growing there. I'll trim this one up a bit as well. Didn't expect to do this, but sometimes you find things when you're in the garden. There we go. But we want to try and keep it as airy as we can down in here. But we don't take off the sucker because this is a determinate tomato, and in all those areas we grow tomatoes. So we want to try and grow as many tomatoes as we can so we don't prune it. Over here this tomato is coming along as well. I've done quite extensive I pruned off the dead leaves, and see, you just take them off and let the healthy leaves grow, and we are doing quite well with this one. And this container over here is also coming along quite well. Lots of new tomatoes growing, doing quite well, and same with this one. As you can see, oh, it looks like we have, oh, I see this one kind of got broken off, so I'm going to lose a few tomatoes. Hopefully not too many because there is still quite amount growing on this one too, so I'm quite excited about that. Over here I have my strawberries, which we've harvested a few tons, And I've taken this runner and put it in some soil, and I'm trying to reroot this runner. It also has more runners growing off of it. So once I'm done with this one and I've let it grow some roots, I'll snip it off here, and I will do the same thing with those runners as well. But they are doing quite well. We have strawberries growing, more flowering, and doing quite well. Back on the other side of this bed, we have the pumpkins that are growing, and I'm going to let these pumpkins grow out in amongst the tomatoes and anywhere that they can grow, because this is where I decided to put them, and they are actually doing quite well. In the other bed, I put some pumpkins as well, but nothing really grew. There's only a couple that grew over there, but the celery is doing quite well, and soon I could harvest a few stalks. Over here is where the snow peas are, and everything is coming along quite well. Over along this bed is my cucumbers, and they are starting to come along as well, growing really well. I'm trying to do the weeding I can as best as I can to keep the weeds out of here, and it's doing quite well. Now over here in the back garden, here is my other potatoes, which are coming along really well. I have some peas growing here. These are just regular peas. They're doing quite well. And over here are some beans. Now my beans, only a couple of my peas and beans did germinate in here. And then I had birds coming out and eating everything in this garden. So I had to do a couple indoors. And then as soon as they came out of the soil, I plopped them in here. And this is how well they're doing. So that way the birds didn't eat the seeds. My radishes and my beets are coming along. I can't say that they're doing tremendously well. My peppers that are in the ground, some are doing extremely well, and then the others have, the old leaves are all yellowing and they're growing some new leaves. So I just think that that's just from the when they were transplanted, they're just going to put on some new leaves. Over here I have my other snow peas, which are all of them are coming along well. I have 4 of them that germinated, and that's the best I'm getting over here. I actually put some more basil in this. Oh no, I think these are carrots. I think this needs to be watered because these carrots will not do well in here. And I have a lot of other weeds that keep trying to grow, but I had a hard time distinguishing between weeds and plants, and was a little discouraged on pulling some of the weeds. Back in the back here, this front row is my cauliflower. And I also had the cabbage moths come back here to these, and you can see that some of them were eaten up, but we've got some more. Now this is supposed to be a broccoli, but it's looking more like the cabbage, so we'll see. I'm not too upset that it's in the same spot as the broccoli, but the broccoli all are coming along quite well. And then on the other side we have tomatoes. So over here I put a bush variety tomato in the ground to see how it will do. And of course I have basil all around the bottoms of these tomatoes, just to I have some in here as well, just to see if that can help prevent some hornworms from coming along. But some of the basils are growing really well that's in the shade, and the tomatoes are all starting to produce some flowers. And I think I did see a couple that actually had some tomatoes growing, but I could be wrong, I can't remember. But they are all coming along quite well over here. And some more basil. I did come in here and try to pull out a few weeds when I was watering this morning, because when the soil's wet, it's just easier to pull them out. So I just try to get it while I can, but they're all doing quite well. Now over here I've got my cherry tomatoes. My cherry tomatoes are doing quite well. I do have a few tomatoes growing right there, and then I do have some basil down here. I do need to get some weeding done along here, but I needed to get out here and harvest, so I'm just doing as much as I can when I can. But this is how my cherry tomatoes are coming along. And then right beside them I have my 2 zucchinis over here. These are green zucchinis, and then over here is a yellow zucchini, and this is a new yellow zucchini growth. I had quite a few in here, and they actually were coming up, but something came along, dug them up from the roots, and was eating them. So these ones I grew on the inside of the house, and this one germinated, and I put it right in the soil as soon as it started growing, and it's actually doing quite well, which was most recent. So I'll have a little bit of a succession sow with those 2. And then over here, my other strawberries I have growing, and I can still come out here and harvest a couple strawberries every day to eat for my own enjoyment, but they're doing quite well. Over here I have my nasturtiums, which, look how beautiful this is. This is the first time I had one in this beautiful color. This is what would make me think a hummingbird would come and look at these flowers, but look how stunning they are. They're so beautiful. And over here is my other strawberries that were in the container, and they actually came back this year, which I did not know how well that would do overwintering, considering I did nothing to them, but they came back. But I need to do something with this top layer. And then here's some more flowers. This is the mint that I transplanted, and it's coming along so well. Over here I have my other plants. They're doing quite well. This is just some flowers, and look at the asters are coming up pink. They're so beautiful, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other zinnias and stuff that we have growing in here. These peppers here are doing amazingly well. I put them in the container and they are just fruiting up like nobody's business. And same with over here. You can see new peppers growing all through here. Got so many flowers, and this one is absolutely amazing. I think putting it back in the container was probably the best thing for this. Went from container to container and it just potted so well. Whereas these ones, for some reason, they were struggling, and then we're waiting on new growth now, so we'll see how well they do in here. There is the new squashes that I put over here, so we'll see what grows, because I didn't label anything over here, but I knew that I put a couple of pumpkin seeds over here, so we'll see how they grow. And yeah, so I'm super excited to see how this goes. So now that we've had a chance to go into the garden, let's go back to the herbs and just harvest those herbs. Well guys, I've got my harvesting basket here, my kneeling pad, which I needed to have to be out in this garden, and my pruners. So let's just go ahead, and I've harvested some of this already, but I see that there's some flowers growing, so I know I need to get in here and actually harvest quite a bit of this. So let's just go ahead and start harvesting. I'm going to take about quite a bit of it actually, because if it grows back, it grows back. If it doesn't, I'm not too upset. I have oregano all over the garden because I didn't realize how prolific this was going to be. So I'm just trying to harvest what I can. Now in here I do have some nasturtiums, so I have to be careful where I'm pruning. So I'm going to chip off my nasturtiums. Oh, too late, already did. But maybe the rest will continue to grow. Alright, I got as much as I need to get. I need to go over here. Now this little bean will be able to maybe thrive a bit because it was hidden by the oregano. I'm going to go over here and harvest my cilantro. Alright guys, so let's harvest this cilantro. Now, I don't know how much to harvest off. I'm just going to do about the same amount as the oregano. Let the cilantro continue to grow. I'm not going to go to flower. I'll go to seed. There we are. So I've harvested the cilantro, and what a smell that is. And there is a little snack in the garden. For me, there's a few of these sweet peas growing, but I'm going to harvest a couple for a snack. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me on my first garden tour, and as well as harvesting my herbs. I'm so super excited about this. Never did I ever think I'd have this many herbs growing in my garden. And I got a few snacks along the way, and I just needed to get into the garden and get harvesting these herbs so that it doesn't go to seed on me, because I want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Guys, I want to thank you so much for coming along with me today on my journey. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed and would like to come along with me on my journey for 2023, just click that subscribe button and follow along with me on my journey for 2023. I'm trying to grow as much food for my own self as I can, and this year I've gone a lot bigger than I did last year, and last year was one of my biggest years because the year before was my first year, and I did a small garden, and it encouraged me that I can grow my own food, and it tastes so much better, and there's just so much more reward for doing it yourself, and I'm truly enjoying growing my own garden. I want to thank you so much for coming on with me today, guys. Until next time.